Okay, now we are going to convert the expression to postfix notation. Then this is our expression. The value that we bold is the value that we are solving. The value that we underline is the value that has been solved. Follow the mathematical rules. We must solve all the square bracket first. We always have to solve the equation inside the round bracket first, then only proceed to solve the equation inside the square bracket. Inside the first round bracket, we have multiply and add. Therefore, we will perform the multiply first. So B multiply E. Multiply is our operator, where we shift the multiply to the back of E, so we will get BE multiply. This is our postfix. Next, now we still within the bracket. Okay, now this BE multiply is our first value, C is our second value, then plus is our operator. So now we're gonna shift the plus sign to the back of the C, and this is our postfix. Since the bracket we already solved, we can remove the bracket. After we solve the round bracket, we can solve the square bracket now. The value that the square bracket is A. The second value will be the round bracket just now we solved. Plus is our operator, so we shift the add to the back of the second value, will be ABE multiply C++. Then next square bracket will be this one. We must solve with the round bracket first. Inside the round bracket, we have divide and add. Follow the mathematical rules. We must solve the divide first. So we move the divide back to the value E. After that, we move the plus to the back of value O. Next, we remove the bracket we already solved. Now inside the square bracket, we have G subtract the round bracket. So we shift the subtract to the back of the round bracket just now we remove. It will be at the back of the add. Then we can get GCE divide O, add and subtract. We continue to solve the square bracket. The round bracket we have subtract and divide. So we do the divide first. Then move the divide to the back of the value A. Next, shift the subtract to the back of the value of the divide. Because our second value is FA divide, then we can get the postfix of the round bracket is BFA divide subtract. We remove the round bracket also. Then inside the square bracket, we have add and divide. Same as the upper one, we must solve the divide first. Then we move the divide to the back of subtract. After that, we can solve the add. Then we move the add to the back of divide. Okay, then we move to the next bracket. So inside the round bracket, we have D add E. So we move the add to the back of E. So we will get DE add. Then inside the square bracket, we have multiply, divide and subtract. So we must do the multiply and divide first. Then we move the multiply to the back of C. And next we move the divide to the back of add. Okay, after we solve the multiply and divide, we can solve the subtract. So we move the subtract to the back of divide. Then we can remove the bracket. After we solve all the square bracket, we must solve the round bracket that without square bracket. In the round bracket, we have is A subtract C multiply D. As the same, we must solve the multiply first. Then we move the multiply to the back of D. Then we can solve the subtract. So we move the subtract to the back of multiply because CD multiply is our second value. After we solve all the value in the bracket, now we can solve the value and operator that without bracket. As the same, we must solve the multiply and divide before add and subtract. Move the multiply sign to the back of the value V because V is our second value. Next, C is our first value. Multiply is our operator. This is our second value. So we shift the multiply to the back of plus. Okay, then we shift the divide to the back of multiply because A, C, D multiply divide V multiply is our second value. Okay, then we shift the divide to the back of subtract. Okay, after we solve all the multiply and divide, then we can proceed to solve the subtract and add now. Then we move the subtract to the back of divide. Okay, then next we move the add to the back of subtract because GCE divide O add subtract is our second value. Okay, then we move the subtract to the back of divide, and this is our. Now we are going to draw our stack diagram. At the end of drawing, we are going to get the expression. From the zero address, we don't know what the program execution's expression. So we need to draw the stack diagram to find program execution's expression. Then only we can design 2 and 3 address. Before we start the stack diagram, we always assume that the stack is empty. Follow the zero diagram. The first one is push A. So A will be at the bottom of stack. Next will be push B. So A was at the bottom just now. When we push B, then B will be on the bottom of A. And this is the second one. The next one will be push E. Then our E will be on the top of B and A. Next will be multiply. When we want to perform an operator, it will involve our top 2 value. Here we have 3 value. So we take the top 2 value because it is an operator. We must decide the sequence now. We must know that in our stack diagram, our lower value will operate the value on top. Therefore, it will be B multiply E. Next, want to push C. C will be on top of B multiply E. Next will be add. To perform this operator, we will involve the top two value. So it will be B multiply E, then add C. We can also include a bracket here. Next, we want to perform add. To perform the add, it will involve the two value here. That means it will be the bottom value add the upper value. So it will be A plus the bracket. Then next is push T. So the T will be on the top of the value just now. Then next is push A. So A will be on the top of value T. So next is push C. Then C will also be on the top of value A. Then next will be push D. Then D will be on the top of value C. So next is multiply. Then multiply is our operator. So it will involve the top two value. So it will be C multiply D. Then next is subtract. Then the top two value is A subtract C multiply D. Okay, next is push V. Then V will be on the top. Okay, after push V will be multiply. So it will involve the top two value will become A subtract, then multiply D. Then here we can put a bracket, then multiply V. Okay, then it will be divide. So divide the top two value, it will be T divide the bracket, then multiply V. Then next will be subtract. Okay, then the bottom one will subtract the top one. So it will be A add the bracket. So subtract T divide the bracket, then multiply V. So next will be push G. So the G will be the top of the expression. Next will be push C. So C will be on the top of G. Okay, then next will be E, push E. Then E will be on the top of C. Okay, after that will be divide. Okay, because divide is a operator, it will be C divide E. Okay, next will be push O. So O will be the top of the C divide E. Then next is operator is add. So it will involve the top two value. It will be C divide E, then add O. Then next is a operator also. It will be subtract. So it will involve the top two value. The bottom first, it will be G subtract C, then divide E add O. Then we can add a bracket also. Then now the next value is add, so the bottom will be first. So A add B at the bracket, then subtract T, divide the bracket, then multiply V, 然后 and then add the bracket. Just now the bracket is G minus C divide E at O. Okay, then next value will be push C. Then C will be on the top of the expression. Then next push D. So D will be on the top of C. Next push E. E will be on the top of D. The next push B. B will be on the top of E. Next push F. F will be on the top of B. Push A. A will be on the top of F. So next is operator will be divide. So divide the top two value. So the bottom one is F. F divided by A. So next will be also operator will be subtract. So B subtract F divide A. So next will be divide. So will be E divide by B subtract F divide by A. So next will be add. So the bottom one is D. D divide by E. D add E divide by B subtract F divide by A. So next will be multiply. So will be C multiply D add E divide B subtract F divide by A. So next value is push A. So A will be the top of the expression just now. Next is push C. C will be on the top of A. Then next will be the operator of multiply. So the top two value is A multiply C. Okay, next will be push B. So B will be on the top of A multiply C. Then next will be push D. D will be on the top of B. Then next will be push E. E will be on the top of D. The next one is operator is add. So will involve the top two value. It will be D add E. The next will be divide. So the bottom one is B, so it will be B divide by D add E. The next one will be subtract. It will be AC subtract B divided by D add E. The next operator is divide. So it will become C multiply D add E divide by B subtract F divide A multiply C subtract B divide D then add E. Okay, next one is subtract. Then it will involve the two expression. Then the bottom one will be first one, then the upper one will be the second one. So it will be this one. Okay, then we can group them in the bracket now. because this is last operation. The last one is pop Z, so do not ignore it because Z is our final result operand. Therefore, we have Z equal to the answer, and this will be our program executions expression.